Hello, Meislings. Well, it's a good name as any. And welcome to our first monastery report, serial name pending. So if you guys have any better ideas for this series, please feel free to comment and give us something better than monastery report.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry?
I said hello, everybody.
Ah, yeah, he's also there.
Okay, the short version of things is B was having a bit of a vacation on a mountain. And then I joined very briefly with my family. And then he used the fact that I have a car and that my wife is willing to go to the back seat, so that we can place him in the car. And we drove to a monastery, which was nearby where he stayed. And to be honest, some of you might remember we actually wanted to do very serious videos about monasteries, but judging by this experience, I don't think it's going to happen, because I'm just remembering the question, like, what kind of a show is that? And then B doing his very best to explain what Church Mouse Chronicles YouTube channel is. And I'm looking at her eyes. That will be that will be a nun who we've asked for to say a couple of words about the monastery, and she was like, her eyes never even moved. She was like flat line.
Yeah, that's not happening, honey.
So yeah, before we do go on, what are you reading right now?
I'm reading the report on how the monastery was founded.
No, I don't mean right now. I mean, what's your current book?
There's no current book. I haven't picked up a book in weeks because I have no time.
Are you using the Kindle?
I actually brought it to Zlatibor.
Never
but
touched
then
it.
I noticed that none of us has brought a proper charger, so my Kindle totally failed.
Just FYI, you could have asked me to give you one.
Yeah, but I already said goodbye to it. I already said goodbye to it, and that was it.
Okay, so we visited the Dubrava Monastery, and guys, the story behind this one is pretty impressive. Let me go with geography, and I'll let you go with history.
Okay.
So
by the way, with the geography, do describe the trip up to there, because it was a sight to see.
I'll do my best.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, this is very close to the Zlatibor mountain, which is a very popular mountain in Serbia. Too popular in the past decade. It has evolved. Like I think every month it's different. Especially me, I'm visiting it like in every like 2 or 3 years, and it's a totally different place. It's constantly being changed, and people are building buildings on top of buildings, and there's the most ridiculous name of a motel that you can ever have, which is called Alibi. The Alibi Hotel. Welcome to the Alibi Motel. Anyways, so around 30 kilometers, which is, I don't know, maybe 20 miles.
25 maybe.
I don't know. Google's your friend. Okay, didn't activate. It's basically around 25 miles or 30 kilometers from the Zlatibor mountain, and there's actually a very, very well-known monastery with a similar description. It's called Uvac, and it's actually pretty close when I think about it, because it's in the same canyon, I think, right? Or the monastery is actually looking at that canyon, right?
Yeah, yep.
Now I'm loving this beginning, because we got a brochure They didn't want to talk to us, but they gave us a brochure, which is nice. They gave us like 15.
Yeah.
So no, because
For every monk that did not want to speak with us.
yeah, but I remember the nun. She was like, well, we don't want to get exposed that much and whatnot. Go visit the sister. What's her name? And she'll give you a brochure. Here's 15 brochures.
Yeah.
We don't want to expose. So here it says, the road to the monastery has asphalt with only a short part, while the rest of it is, how do you pronounce this? Macadam?
Macadam, yeah, well, dirt road.
Yeah, basically dirt road. But dirt road and the mud road is a combination. Fact is, it is not the best of roads, and I personally wouldn't do it if it was snowing. Like, I wouldn't do it.
And at one point, the both sides of that mud dirt road are surrounded by brambles and thorns, and they were like, maybe you should, establish a village here and call it like Maleficent's Hollow or something.
Yeah. Where and we kind of joked, like, the main occupation of this secluded village is necromancy.
Where it is a way of life.
Yeah.
Don't ask for the mayor. Do not ask for him.
Yeah, but when you think about it, the sightseeing during this trip was surreal.
Yeah.
The plants, the air, and we kind of had a bit of a good luck with the weather, a stroke of good luck, because it was cold, but the sun was so strong that you just didn't feel the cold. So we actually drove with one window down, actually maybe even two. So it was great. Really, the road, even though it was a bit challenging because it's really not the best of roads, it was really great. The road itself was worth the trip, but of course the monastery was even better. And I remember I used Google Maps for navigation, and there was a sign, and I completely ignored the sign because I was looking at the navigation, and the navigation wasn't even showing that there's a road. The sign was saying Dubrava Monastery to the right, and B saw it, and he was like, "I think we should take a right turn." And I was like, "No, I'm going this way." And turns out when we were going back, B's version was a much better road. But okay, so let me read geography a little bit. So the monastery is in the deep canyon of the Uvac River, pretty much just like the Uvac Monastery, and it is surrounded by high foresty
Meadows.
Thank you. They actually don't have clear information in terms of how old the monastery is. What's the exact date when it was first set up and settled? But they think that it was built by one of the big guys of the time, maybe lords, or maybe even whom did we have back then? Veliki Župan.
Grand Prince.
You sure that's how it's pronounced? Great Prince?
Yes.
Your vocabulary is very impressive, my friend.
Thank you.
So it was around, they actually think it was a metoch, which is like a remote settlement of a monastery, right?
Yeah.
Of the Banya monastery. I never went to Banya monastery. Did you?
You're really asking me if I visited the monastery? I really did not visit that much of them.
Yeah, I probably visited more than you.
Yeah, and if I did, it's like those very big names. No, and Banya is really not among them. But I would love to visit.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I didn't even Google it. Like, I'm very bad. I'll leave you to discuss history, and then we'll discuss, the time that we had.
Period. Well, actually, the way the current monastery is founded is rather miraculous. because it was founded by Father Daniel Plashich. He was an Antonite hero monk and is still a hero monk. And he moved to Serbia, and he continued his ascetic labors in the upper hermitage of Saint Saba's in Studenica Monastery. And it is this amazing hermitage in a cleft rock above the monastery. And for 3 years, Father Daniel would receive these visions, primarily in his dreams, where he would go through this monastery and look through the frescoes of that monastery. And at one point, the late Patriarch Herman of Serbia appeared to him and gave him basically his blessing to restore that monastery. I'm not exactly sure, the brochure does not say, how they actually located the monastery, but guided by some unseen force, they did manage to locate the foundations of some ancient Christian church there. And by the way, those rocks and stones and everything was arranged, they concluded that it must be some late medieval century. Actually, in the altar area of that older monastery, they actually found a treasure chest containing around 260 Venetian golden ducats, golden coins, which is like you found finding, I don't know, $50 billion in your backyard.
Well, it's not that amount, but it's like you woke up and somebody gave you a decent number of bitcoins.
Yeah, like 260 bitcoins to be more precise.
Yeah, no, I'm really not sure, but I'm guessing these, especially in the state that they've likely found them, are very, very expensive to buy and
Yeah.
hold for collectors.
So Father Daniel immediately set out to restore that monastery, and at the time when we were there, I haven't exactly counted, but they have the main church, the side chapel, that is dedicated to spiritual talks, short services, and so on. They have a spring. They have a kitchen, a refectory that is a monastery dining room, as it were, a shop, and it is a completely arranged and working monastery.
I just want to say, it's like you're describing a shopping mall,
Yeah. And to your left is the lingerie.
By the way, we didn't get blessing. We didn't get blessing to record the insides of the church, little church, and the chapel next to it. The frescoes are breathtaking. Like I just stopped in place and I was like completely transported,
Yeah.
And by the way, I've read actually right now, Danilo, which you call Daniel, he actually moved to the Uvac monastery, which is more or less nearby, and he started searching for them. He was the one who found it.
That's what they said.
Okay, I think you said something else, but it is what it is. And that happened in 2001. So literally 20 years ago. And they found the ducats, the gold coins. They found it in a depth of 80 centimeters. We're talking about the 16th century gold coins. And this is basically what they did. They sold the coins or whatnot, and that's how they financed the rebuild. And the shopping mall you just described.
I'm sorry. Okay.
The monastery shop. By the way, one of the best things I have to note about monasteries in Serbia, you can see that exactly when you go into the shop of a monastery. Like 99% of monasteries that I go into are like this. Nobody tends the shop.
Yeah.
You have this bowl or carton board or whatever box, where you put the money, and you have prices. Um, there's the candles, there's books, there's uh, I was gonna say memorabilia, but
Well, it is. It is.
uh, there's different kinds of fancy things for fancy Christians like me, and you just take what you need and you leave the money in the box. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people just leave more than they've taken, which and it's like it's not
Something
a
that I
marketing
think
trick.
everybody does,
Yeah, but
unnaturally.
exactly, but it's not a marketing trick because you can actually steal the money very easily. So nobody obviously does that, and that
By the way,
shows a lot of
if we
respect.
did that, I'm pretty sure that the car would simply tumble in one of the precipices on the way to the monastery. Because man, I I was scared.
Look. Yes, the road that I chose, the part that had asphalt, it was like right next to the Great Chasm. So it was pretty. I guess there's people who might have issues driving there. I definitely um,
Yeah.
felt the strain. And anyway, since we're talking about the trip again, one of my comments was, I can't believe that my kids are quiet. And the reason why they were quiet is B completely did not stop. He was just yabbing and yabbing about, oh my God, look
Thank
at
you.
this beautiful tree. Oh my God, look at these purple flowers. They're everywhere. Oh my God, this forest, it's so great. Can we stop here? Can we stop here?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, it was great.
By
It
the
was
way,
great. It was great.
I want to comment on the church. It was very clear that whoever chose the frescoes was an avid reader of the lives of the saints, because generally when they paint churches in Serbia, when they put frescoes, there's a standard issue saints that you put on there. Saint George, Saint Nicholas, Saint Paraskiv, and so on. And these are fine, and they were all there. But there were some saints that you do not see so often on Serbian frescoes. For example, you have the royal passion bearers, the Romanovs. You had Saint Matrona. You had Saint John of Shanghai, and so
Saint
on.
Seraphim. I don't
Saint
see I don't
Seraphim.
see him that much in Serbian frescoes.
Yeah, true. Maybe he will get more common soon,
So
but
Jovan Kroštanski. So that would be John of
yeah,
Kronstadt.
yeah, and him. And what I really liked is a very rare fresco of Christ in prison with his legs bound
Yeah,
while
but
he's and comforted by an angel.
comforted by
So
an angel. It was beautiful. I'm so sorry that we didn't get blessing to record
I
inside. But
I actually considered to snap a photo for my own purposes, but that would be winging the wording of his blessing away a
yeah,
little bit too much.
look. I asked him directly, and he was like, you will take the photo for your own purposes. But and by the way,
You did not tell me that.
I did. I did. But you only hear what you want to hear. Are you
Well,
saying you
but they
snapped one?
wanted to hear that. I need to
Look,
tell you.
but this monk is, when you encounter somebody and you're standing in front of a beautiful soul, like you can't
Yeah,
miss that. He is it is I was like, the moment I spoke to him, like I just had a smile on my face, like me instant smile on my face. And
yeah,
even though I
yeah.
was asking him
Likewise.
even though I was asking him for blessing, which he completely denied. He was like, no, 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 and he went about how, I might take a photo or two for my own purposes, but you don't know the people whom you work with. They might misuse. And I was like, yeah, it's all good. Like I was like, you can say anything, and I'll be like, yeah. Look, it's like a 90-year-old monk, with a
Yeah,
bit with a bit of a curvature. Uh, just He went into that small chapel, and people
Yeah.
just went coming in, coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. He would speak to everybody, and he would pray for everybody. And you know what? You and I are idiots for,
I was about to say that.
I was like, and I went in, to take a bit of oil from the translate.
Visual.
Yeah, and I took some oil, and he was like, he looked at me like, do you want some? Do you want a prayer or something? He didn't say it, but then that's, and I was like, and I was like,
No, I'm good. I'm good.
oh god, I'm such an idiot. We we should have taken the kids and my wife and you and just put everybody inside that chapel and just ask for the simplest possible prayer, because this guy, and look. So I go out, and I see that he waited for a while and nobody went in, and he got out. So as he was getting out, somebody stops him for a second. Father, might we get some prayer? And he was like, for a split second, he was like, well, I was waiting there and nobody came. Come with me. Bam, back to the chapel, back to work, which was like, wow. Like, I've seen monks completely blow people off,
Yeah, yeah,
like, easily. um, so this guy is the real deal. God allow him many, many more years
yeah.
and servitude and whatnot. He is great, and I really didn't take it that hard that he didn't give us blessing. And then
No,
you
I
actually,
didn't at all. Whatever he does, we would do. So I really did not have an issue with it. But I wanted to remark on that because uh, I think there was a silent duel between you and me. Whom of us will ask him if we could record him for the show? Because if we ask him to record for the show, we will get that awkward question: what is that show about? Well, it's mice on the internet on YouTube, and it's on English, and not something that a typical Antonite here monk is gotten used to hearing. So maybe in some 20 years, but
he
right now,
he forwarded us to the store. We encountered a young nun at the store, and then she forwarded us to the older nun. And then, did you notice how the second she saw Yulia, my kid, she was like, she just looked at her. She was like this, and Yulia immediately just ran towards her and hugged her like they were like, long lost friends. I was like,
that was I noticed that because
wow.
you have this elderly. I think that she's an abbess there, and you have this elderly nun who's sort of not all that enthusiastic about you recording her. And then she sees a little girl and she immediately
Shift.
transforms into the sweetest granny you have ever seen. Like, it was like whoop, like instantly. And I've never seen two people click so fast. It was amazing. If we managed to record just that, it would have been
Yeah,
enough. But
yeah,
okay.
it would have been life itself, man. Because
Yeah, yeah, that's
that
life.
I was like, wow. She just ran towards her, like, just like that. Like, when you feel somebody's energy, somebody's spirit,
Yeah, yeah.
crazy, crazy. And then she completely blew us off,
Well, you know, uh,
as
them
expected.
them dodging the giving us the blessing remind me of that story from Geronticon, the grapes of love. You know that one.
Familiar, but please
Okay,
remind me.
somebody brings some grapes to Saint Anthony the Great, and Saint Anthony thanks the man. He takes the grapes and he's like, I shouldn't eat these grapes. For example, Father Paphnutius, he's working hard in the field. So he goes to the field and gives Father Paphnutius the grapes and he thanks him. And Father Paphnutius is like, well, Father John is really sick. I should take it to him. And he takes it to the Father John. Father John is, thank you, Father. Then Father John is like, maybe I should give this to Father Mark. He's praying so much for us. Then Father Mark comes and visits him. he gives him these grapes, and then Father Mike is like, well, maybe I should take this to Father Anthony. He's getting all these visitors, so he gives grapes to him, and he's like, he calls the entire brotherhood, and he shares grapes with all of them because these are the grapes of love. And this was similar, like, Father, can we get a blessing? No, can we record you while you say something about the monastery? And he was like, well, you can ask one of the nuns. So we go to one of the nuns, and the nun is like, well, maybe you should go and ask the abbess. And the abbess is like, well, we're hermits here. We don't like the exposure. We would like to stay under the radar a little bit. And okay, it's not like, no, you can't, as M
No,
might make it seem.
It was all in good spirit, like 100%,
Yeah.
which you would expect, But it's a shame that that you and I are such nobodies. We need to find a priest with us and get him
It's
to
a
get us.
blessing to be a nobody. It's a blessing to be a
No, of
nobody.
course, of course, of course, of course, of course.
Oh, and the last thing that we forgot, that younger nun, because I think we saw only two nuns, the abbess and that younger nun. And that younger nun told us, do you know that we have a spring dedicated to Saint Paraskid? And we went there, and the view from up there is simply stunning. You're basically gazing at that river down there, at that canyon, and the water from that spring. I told them I never tasted sweeter water. It was nearly sweet. How good it was. And next time, we should definitely bring some empty bottles in the case there's some miraculous spring or
Look, I gotta be
whatever.
honest with you. I have the wish to visit again.
Yeah, me too.
It's just that you've seen it's not the easiest thing to do with kids.
No.
But
Yeah, his daughter kept saying, when are we going to see the monastery? I have no idea what she thought that the monastery actually is.
yeah, and she was like, I don't want to go to church. I want to go to the monastery.
Poor kid.
But look, great at the liturgy the second day. They've been pretty peaceful throughout the most of the liturgy. But then it was like, I need to pee. Then the second
Yeah, well,
one I need
kids.
to pee. And then I was so completely lost in time and space. A bit of issues sleeping and whatnot. We didn't even take them to receive communion, which was like, why? And then I remember you turning to me and asking me, kids communion. I was like, I just said the first thing that came to mind, which is like, it's not the time.
I could tell.
right. I was like, why? And then I was thinking, why? And then I went to Angela and I asked her, why didn't we get communion? She was like, I don't know. completely bam. Wonderful church.
Yeah.
But going back real quick to the small church in the Dubrava Monastery, do you remember what the church is dedicated to?
The smaller side chapel.
Both.
The smaller chapel is dedicated to Saint Elijah and Saint Panteleimon, the unmercenary healer, and I think that the larger church is dedicated to Saint Basil of Austria.
Yeah. So basically, my church, the church that I feel is my church, the church of the Temple of Transfiguration. It's a big church, and I remember Father Alexander telling me that there's like 1,000 saints portrayed in the frescoes.
Wow.
Wow. Like we're talking about a huge number, okay? And then you think about the small church, where there's a seriously smaller number than that, but those colors, the liveliness of these icons. And you remember how you noticed that Saint John of Kronstadt is just like so realistic.
Yeah.
Honestly, just standing there, I want to be on a liturgy there. I want to
Yeah,
go
me too.
on the divine liturgy in that monastery. You know,
Yeah, me too.
that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. So we'll figure it out. I already kind of promised myself that I'm gonna take the family back during summer, because the place where we stayed at was wonderful. Let's do an episode on staying on Zlatibor. I think there's things to say about that as
Sure.
well. But really, the
Okay.
place that we were staying, which we accidentally matched, I did not stalk you. Seriously, it was just
Right. Doubt.
dude. We didn't touch. We didn't even call you for a walk. Come on, we left you alone.
No. But you wanted to be near my presence.
Господи, Gordelia. There's a prelist alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if anybody is interested in potentially visiting the Dubrava Monastery, let us know so we can give you a direction, because as far as I've seen, they don't have anything in English.
Yep.
We will be happy to maybe even take you there if you visit Serbia sometimes,
Sure.
but only if you have the COVID passport, no, or the application. We will scan your QR code. You weren't listening, B, right? You missed
No,
my
I'm listening about the COVID passport and
big brain
taking
joke.
people we don't know on a long road trip.
You missed my big brain joke. Okay.
I heard about the COVID passport.
You didn't laugh. Bye.
Not all jokes slang landed him.
Not all jokes slang.
Yeah.
Bye. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Bye.
Hey guys, here we are at Dubrava Monastery. We're trying to do the impossible, which is to wait in queue to get an audience with what's his name?
Father Daniel.
Daniel. I thought it was Dimitri. So Daniel. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll keep you updated.